Hi everyone, I probably know quite a few of you, been hanging around in Channon for quite a while. I'm hanging around still because I love Bundjalung country, I love where we are, I love this place. And I'd like to say, you know, I have much to learn from the Widjabul people who are the main custodians of Lismore out here and further afield. I'm Aliison, this is April.
Hi.
We're both volunteers at Friends of the Koala. Like a couple of our legends that are in this room, that's Dot Moya, who is one of our honorary life members, as well as Lorraine Vass, who is our patron, current patron, was president for 16 years and is an honorary life member. So that's where we come from. FOC is, you know, has very deep foundation of some fabulous volunteer work that's gone on for over 37 years now. We're based, we have a little centre in Lismore. Has anyone been to that centre? A few of you, so you know where it is. But our licence is actually for the whole region. So that gives us a licence to rescue, rehabilitate, and when we can, release. We also euthanize a lot of koalas, and you all, I think you're aware of that. And that's one of the very sad parts of the work that we do. But we're not just about the hospital and all of that. We also are keen advocates. We also do bush regeneration work. We have projects that go on. And the bulk of our work is done by volunteers. We've got 239 current volunteers doing all sorts of work. And we have 6 staff, mainly who help run the hospital and do some of the admin side. We've got a wonderful general manager who keeps us all in check, or at least tries to. And you know what it's like, being volunteers around this area? It's a hard task. But for us, Friends of the Koala, over 37 years, we have this magnificent database of koala sightings. And you know, if you're out and about and see a koala, please go to our website, right-hand side, report a sighting. Doesn't matter if you see the same koala, if it's the same sort of koala hanging around, maybe just once a month, you know, just keep the data updated, because people like BioLink come to us for our data and use that data. It also gets put up onto BioNet. I was going to go BioNet. And so, you know, anybody can look around for what's happening. And that Atlas of Living Australia, have you all found that? That's a wonderful website that shows you all sorts of different species living around you. Because I think for me, you know, koalas are, you know, yeah, they're cute and whatever. But saving koala habitat, you actually save a whole lot of other species underneath it. And you also, you know, I'm a bushwalker. I love bushwalking. So I love all of wildlife. And I often make the joke of I actually love worms, because worms, you know, feed the ground. Birds eat worms, and birds are really my thing. But koalas, you know, let's do what we can for them as well. I do, you know, one of the things that we always need is more volunteers. And I warn you off this, because if, like me, who 8 years stumbled into a market and they said, well, actually, we just need someone to do the secretary role. And I think you guys would know, you sort of get sucked into the VOC void and then you're in there. And it's an exciting organisation to be part of, because it's up to you, it's really the people who are driving it, what you want to achieve through it. You know, and that's what I love about it, is if you come in there and you really want to write grants for habitat restoration because you in your area, well then use the organisation to help make that happen. If you've got some time and you just want to help koalas, but you're not physically able to, we have a hotline system of 24/7 hotline people who will take calls and decide if a koala needs rescuing or not. If you're young and fit and able and crazy, then you might want to join the rescue team that actually gets out of bed in the middle of the night and goes and pulls koalas out of places and off roads and helps them. Or maybe it's just that you want to hang around and just be near koalas, do a bit of work once a week. Well, then our koala care group that comes in and has to scrub all the logs and put fresh eucalypt in. Or Dot could tell you what it's like to be a leafer, having looked after that for what? 10 years. Another crazy person. Every morning we have to go out. We have trucks, we have vans. We go out every morning. Takes 2 to 3 hours. We have 7 plantations now. 7, Dot. When I joined, they used to have to scurry around on the roads stealing leaves, you know. You do. Yeah. But now we've got these plantations. So you just turn up once a week and say, I'm going to do that. That's the job for me. Once a week, cut. And you become part of the FOC team, you know, the FOC family.
The FOC family.
And, you know, and I think that's what happened to April.
Yes. That's where I come into it. I started at FOC about 3 years ago now, and it's basically turned into my home. I help out basically wherever I can. So I do a little bit of hotlining, I do a little bit of rescuing. I work beautiful, amazing, privileged, hands-on care with the rehabilitation centre in town, and that's when we get to feed them leaf and treat them the medication after a little bit of training. And when I started, I had no idea about koalas. I had no idea, and no idea how to work in an organisation like this. I did 10 years in a pet shop down the back. So I come into this with no training, and they trained me to do everything. So if you're not sure about anything, we do all the training. We will show you how to do everything. And yeah, just a few hours a week would be amazing. We also do tree planting days. Educational days like this, and that's where I've decided to help Aliison. I don't usually do these speeches with Aliison.
No, usually she's in a koala suit.
Yeah, but I thought I could help out today and just mention a few things that I help out with, like the rescuing and the rehabilitation and all that sort of thing, a bit of hotline, and I've also helped out with leafing as well. Absolutely love the leafing, it's nice and physical.
Yeah, so there's many ways you can help koalas.
Definitely.
Not only on your own properties, and it sounds like a lot of you are already doing that work. It's funny, the site-specific, we are part of the koala strategy. We have funding to have this wonderful woman called Angie Brace work with us. So she's our regional koala officer. And her job is to liaise between the councils, the 6 councils in our thing, and with FOC as well. And recently she went off to the Rainforest Conservancy, had a conversation about rainforest and koalas, and she made a T-shirt for herself called "It's Site Specific," you know, and wore that on stage. And that's what it's about. It's about learning your vegetation type around you and what works for you, you know.
Even on the back of that shirt also, I don't give a fuck.
I don't give a fuck. No, it's time to give a fuck. It's time to give a fuck, you know. But yeah, that's really opened up that conversation about wet sclerophyll and dry sclerophyll in amongst us. And you know, we all know there has been a lot of plantings that aren't in the right space, or are the wrong sort of plantings. But that's how we've learnt. We are learning together how to do that better. We, Friends of the Koala, we have this fantastic group called the Regional Koala Network, which is anyone working in koala conservation in our region comes together every 2 months. So that's all the councils, that's WWF, that's I4. They come together, national parks, anyone who wants to talk about koalas gets together, and we just work together, keeping each other up to date. A lot of conversations happen outside of the meeting, around morning tea or lunch, and we have presentations there so that we're keeping ourselves up to date and be as informed as we all can be. We're actually, our advocacy work, we've got a team of people, Lorraine's in that with me, and our Vice President Rhonda James, who is, you know, a legend in the bush regeneration sector, and she's based up in Tweed. We've been lobbying and talking to the government a lot about, you know, about FOC and about our funding, because a lot of people say, well, you know, who is Friends of the Koala? And it is because I think we just had put our head down and worked for so many years. And there's some new players on the field that have come up and are bright and shiny and are doing their thing. And then here's FOC, who's been just doing the work that needed to be done. And it's our time to shine now, and we are starting to really put our foot forward and say, you know, this organisation and the people before us, they were on a good thing. They knew what they were talking about. I sometimes think I know nothing, and I know nothing, because I'm not a bush regenerator, I'm not a scientist, I'm not a, you know, but what I do know is people. And what I know is if you give people the mechanism to work together, they do it really well. And I think that's, for me, what FOC can do. And, you know, we try our best with the people that are there. And so if there's anything that you want to help support at FOC, or you want to change, then you come in and you help us work together, and we do it together. I think we get a lot of people saying what they love about FOC is, you know, that it is looking at all aspects of koala conservation. It isn't just about rescuing koalas. But I must say, we released our 2000th koala last year, Sir Lancelot. And, you know, he had a bit of a life, that koala. He was a multiple frequent flyer at Friends of the Koala. And there's been others. We've had, you know, some fantastic work done with researchers coming in and using our database. We have a database of 16,000 or something thousand records. And so we have a really clear understanding of where koalas are. But of course, that database is only really based on sightings, mainly. I mean, it does incorporate, I don't know if it doesn't incorporate SAT as well, but Angie does that work, doesn't she? She brings SAT and our database together. And, but the sightings are, you know, you can see that there are population where people are, that's where we get sightings. And then out or around roads, when you look at the maps, and we've got maps everywhere, you look around and you can see there's koala sightings. So if you're out bushwalking and you got your phone, just even if you can just take a, you know, even if you can't actually get the GPS up working, just note that. And then if you can update it when you're back in with internet, we'd really appreciate it, because that eyes on the ground is really important, because the more that we can say where koalas are, the more we can help protect their environment. Yes. So we have a slideshow that our fantastic GM sent us, but it's got the old logo on it. So I don't even know if I really want to go through it. But
the old stuff.
Yeah, but the old stuff is still
relevant.
What does a sick and injured koala look like, April?
So sick and injured koalas are either hit by a car or attacked by a dog. We've had koalas kicked by donkeys before, and cows. They often get kicked by cows. Cows it's not a matter of cows attacking them. It's just they don't know what they are and they freak out. Same as dogs, they're not sure what they are. It's not every day a koala comes out of the tree and wanders through your backyard. So when dogs see them, they tend to get a little bit defensive, and then natural reaction from our koalas is to get defensive back, and then we have our little altercations, and that's where we come in, our rescuers, and we'll go and get them. But sick koalas, they actually look very brown sometimes, or they'll have a very rusty coloured brown bottom. So rusty coloured brown, wet, soggy bottom is definitely a time to give us a call, and we will head out and rescue that poor darling. That's cystitis, and they're going through a lot of pain. So we'd like to bring them into the hospital and most likely euthanize them and send them off to heaven, get them out of that pain that they're suffering. Then you've got...
Because it's that pain you don't... Koalas are weird, aren't they? They're so stoic.
Yeah, they're so quiet. They won't show signs of pain, and they'll just sit there quietly looking down.
People go, my dog doesn't hurt koalas. The dog's sniffing it. That is stressing those koalas out. Right. Most of our koalas have, it's like an AIDS called retrovirus. So it can get triggered, and then that's when their immune systems are lowered.
Exactly.
And so keeping dogs away.
That's right, yeah. Another one is the conjunctivitis. They have crusty red eyes and it can turn chlamydial, but we can treat it. We can send our rescuers out, bring them into hospital, and we can do treatment on their eyes and get them back into the wild. We need more people to help find these little critters for us and help us look after them and help us plant trees.
But you've got to be mad to do that,
thing.
that part. You really do. My first rescue, I ended up in hospital for a week.
Yeah, they look cute and cuddly, but they can be quite dangerous. I've got a few little scratches from them. So we do wear protective gear most of the time, and we use towels and proper gear to get these koalas into the cage and back to the hospital. But yes, they can be quite dangerous, and we don't just grab them bare hands
you get trained properly.
Yeah, properly, yes.
And that's why they don't let me play with the koalas anymore.
Yes, no. We leave that to us, Aliison. Yeah. And I'll leave you to the talking to the people. But yeah, yucky eyes, give us a call. Dirty, rusty coloured bum, give us a call. If they're just sitting on the ground, definitely give us a call. Koalas should not be on the ground. So give us a call.
Or doing weirdo things like trying to get in your house.
Yes, swimming pools and all that sort of thing. Yep, we've had some funny calls. We also have tree planting days. One of them's actually coming up in April. If you'd like more information on that and would like to sign up for that, that would be amazing, because we're always after more hands for tree planting. But again, same as the organisation at the actual hospital in town, always after more hands. Leafing, always after more hands. Hotline, if you've got a couple of hours a week, we'd love to have you on. The hotline, you work from home too. You don't actually have to come in. You can do that from your mobile. We have it all set up on apps where you do it on your mobile at home, just as long as you've got internet. But yeah, we have all sorts of different departments you can help us out in.
You reminded me of the, I don't know if you all saw recently, we just announced this fantastic project that we're working with the University of Sunshine Coast, and we got a little bit of funding from the New South Wales government, our vaccination project. So we've actually vaccinated 100 koalas that have come through the centre, and we're going to get some more money, and I mean not more money. We're going to get some more vaccinations and keep going, because that's one way. Chlamydia is one of the biggest things that we see killing our koalas. So we've got our fingers crossed, and I'm in high hopes that this is a real game changer for our koalas. So that's another reason about if you see a sick or injured koala and can ring us up. We have a hotline, which is on our website, but it's really easy. It's really great to put in your phone, 66221233. That's our 24/7 hotline number, which is a little bit different to our report a sighting, in that if you report a sick and injured koala via the website, we might not get to that koala to be able to help it in time. So that is, you can do both. If you feel like there's something a bit wonky about this koala, it doesn't look the best, then call the hotline number, because that's the way we'll get to it faster. It's 66 22 1233. And we have magnets over there, so you can stick one on your fridge and you've always got it. So we're working with the government, we're trying our best. We feel like it's our turn to get a few $1 million. So wish us luck. We're off to Sydney to convince them. But we're actually been invited, and quite a few of us are going down for this new South Wales government is re-looking at the koala strategy. And I know it seems like a lot of money, $190 million the last government promised. And I don't know exactly how much has been spent in the couple of years that's been going.
I was asking budget estimates only yesterday.
What was it, Lorraine? She'll
know.
know.
The answer is they took it on note or something.
Oh, good. Okay, so the piddling 20 million we've got left. We want to. We've been invited to go down along with every koala group across the state to talk about what's the best way that we can move forward together. So that's a great initiative, because that didn't happen at the last thing, not like this anyway. Last koala strategy. Am I wrong? I could be. I'm wrong. I'll tell you. No, good. But yeah, has anyone got questions for us?
Can you tell us a bit about your release program, how successful it is, and what makes a good release site? And are there lots of them, or are they pretty restricted?
Well, our release sites are we follow a code of practice that the government has set up with national parks, and they just did a review of that. But it's the guideline. Well, it's more than what we have to do is within really back to the same tree if we can, or within a kilometre. That's about as much as we can move. So that's a real problem for things like our Gunalabar koalas, you know, which are just being developed around. And I think that those first slides that I walked in on, that BioLink was showing, was how habitat actually works, you know, and while we keep carving up and making those smaller and smaller, there's less and less places to put the Gunalabar koalas or for them to actually have a thriving colony. But yeah, within 1 kilometre, if there's a major thing like a river or a road, a busy road or something, we get to go a little bit further. We're not supposed to cross any of those, like a river or a thing. But we have a different thing that we can do with our joeys. Our joeys come in, their territory's not imprinted in them as much. So some of our joeys, we get them to have a friend, and they get to go to Koala Kindy together, which is the cutest thing. Yeah. And it's the only time I think, oh my God, they're so cute. That they pair them up, and then they go out to a soft release site. So we have sites, we have Koala Kindies where we have fences and we have sort of half mature trees growing in them. So they go on a, you know, like school, they go from here to preschool to public school to high school. And there's a few sites around that that we've got set up for that. I think we're always interested in looking at new sites, but the work that we have to do to prep that area, because they've got to get used to the leaves around there. They've got to, you know, there's a whole system of what they have to do. But, you know, 2,000 koalas in 37 years actually shows you how difficult it is to actually release a koala. You know, it costs, I think they did some crazy sums on it, and it was like, you know, $10,000 a koala. And one thing that we really want to push for is that our wildlife is, you know, it's the responsibility of the Crown. And it's never been given the kudos that it deserves. And neither of all these people, groups like ours across the state, been given the support that they deserve. Or even our vets, you know, we've had some awesome vets working within, you know, outside of the organisation and within the organisation. And, you know, they're not supported. We have to pay. Because we can't afford to run 7 days a week, we actually pay a vet out at Bangalore, you know, per koala. So we have to continually fundraise for that sort of thing. And that's just that, let alone having some staff who can do the overall management of the organisation. Anyway, I could go on about funding and blah, blah, blah. You know, it's like, but yeah, people should take responsibility, government. That's what we're working on, isn't it, Lorraine? Yes. Yes, they're going to. Because Lorraine's just become chair of another group that. What I love about where I sit in FOC is I get to see all the work of all the different groups, and there's just some phenomenal people out there doing a lot of good work. You know, I get to come to things like this and see all you people who actually care and want to make a difference, and it's only through all of us working together that we are gonna make a difference. So good on you. Any other questions?
And like Aliison said, we don't just help koalas, we help wallabies, kangaroos, possums, gliders, all that sort of thing.
And each
it all
other.
It all plays a big part. Big family, like we said before. Is there any other questions? Or?
What's the most common reason you get called out to a koala?
Chlamydia. Chlamydia, that is the biggest killer for our poor darling little koalas. Yeah, chlamydia, the disease, conjunctivitis, cystitis. Yeah, it's horrible. It shuts them down and just destroys their insides, and then we have to put them to sleep to get them out of pain, and they can't
Unless we catch it
reproduce.
early.
That's right, unless we catch it early.
Can I ask, the vaccine, how long's that been in place and when is it being reviewed to see if it's effective?
It's still a research
Trials,
project, but they've been using it up that way for 5 years, and they've had good results. There's sort of 2 camps happening, and Currumbin's got its own program going with a different type of vaccination, and they're having really good results as well. So I don't care which vaccination, if it's working, we want it, and we want as much as we can, and we're going to go out and shoot them all with it.
That's right.
And try. But, you know, even if we solve that, it always comes back to habitat.
That's right.
You know, it doesn't matter what we do, how many koalas, if we don't have somewhere to release them,
Exactly.
they're all going to end up in a zoo,
That's right.
you know, and everyone's going to go, yeah, we save koalas, we've got 10 of them at Taronga. But
Yeah.
yeah, but it's habitat, so it's you guys on the ground doing the habitat restoration work.
Sure.
It's, you know, it's the
Amazing.
only way.
Yeah.
Have you thought about, you know how for orangutan sanctuaries and stuff, they have like a online adopter an orangutan?
Oh, we definitely have
We
Adopt
have
a
the
Koala.
yes, we have
We have-
the online Adopt a Koala.
Don't worry, if it's been thought about, we're trying.
And the other thing I wanted to ask you about was you picked up a koala from my place that Andy had.
Oh, Andy, I remember Andy, yes.
Yeah, and
The benefits of working at the hospital.
so the conjunctivitis was cleared up and he got vaccinated for chlamydia, but then he died of cancer. Can you talk about cancer in koalas?
Yes, we've had a few koalas pass away due to cancer. It's not common, but it does happen. One of our famous koalas, Triumph, he passed away from cancer, poor darling. And also Butters. Butters had cancer as well.
Yeah, and they
darling.
didn't they put one down this week with cancer? So
Possibly, I haven't been
yeah,
much
well,
this week,
I
but,
would go back to that low immune system, that's the retrovirus,
Retrovirus.
that's stress.
Yeah.
You know, like what's happening for that koala, you know, what was it enduring? Yeah, get rid of your dogs, everyone. Did I say that out loud?
Well, I actually have 2 dogs of my own, but I keep them contained, and they're out during the day, but I keep them contained over night time. That always helps. Keeping your dogs
That's
contained
really
over
good
night
idea.
time. That way, wildlife, not just koalas, but possums and gliders can pass through your yard over night time. Yeah. Wild dogs and stray dogs are my worst nightmare. I'm forever telling my neighbours to just try and keep your dogs inside and lock them up over night time. But
There was a study recently done, and I haven't actually read the results. Amy from down, yeah, and I don't think that she saw in her studies much correlation between the wild dogs hurting koalas. So
I know that they interact, because I know the dogs are there at night at koala time, and I just don't know if they're.
well, that's
I
why
actually-
habitat and the koala being able to get away
well,
is
that's
so
right.
important.
I actually released a koala.
What was that? Sorry. Yeah.
I used to- Dingoes, yeah. I actually released a young koala on a property where wild dogs roam just probably about a week and a half ago. A little girl named Kimber, beautiful little sweetie. And the property owner has actually designed a little mound. It's like probably only about yay high, but it's a mound of dirt. He's just dumped a whole big mound of dirt and planted some saplings in there. And apparently the theory is that wild dogs don't like climbing up on things to attack animals. So he's, set up this little thing for the animals to climb up into to hopefully protect the koalas. But that's the theory about wild dogs. They don't like climbing onto things to get up into the trees. So.
Koalas do spend time on the ground too.
They do, but
only
not
to
a lot
move-
of times.
only to move between.
from tree to tree, yeah.
So that's why.
An important part of the ecology, separate to, say, feral dog control.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
But that's interesting, the difference between, because you get dingoes around, and obviously they
Just to,
Territory.
I
Because of
don't want to say
territory, yeah.
pleasure, but you know,
It's just out of territory mainly, yeah.
yeah.
More than welcome to get a dog if you like. Like
No,
I
don't
said,
get dogs.
just be
They're
responsible.
overrated.
Just be a
Come on.
responsible owner. That's all we like. Yeah.
See, I got dingoes on my place, and from the cameras and sending them off, they look pretty pure, and so I'm not baiting. And yeah, what I find in their scat is probably mostly wallabies.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we've
yeah,
got
I
dozens of
think
wallabies
so.
too, and that's probably why lots of the house.
Bandicoots. You didn't say
Bandicoots, definitely.
Yeah, bandicoots and wallabies. Yeah, ground mammals and stuff. Yeah, marsupials. Yeah.
Poor old bandicoot.
Yeah, poor dogs.
Okay, well, thank you so much.
Thank
Where's
you.
Ivy? Thank you, Ivy.